So, today, I want to start off with a little story. Now, when I first started doing photography more professionally, I was doing a lot of portrait photography. And when you're first getting started out, depending on the style of portrait photography that you're doing, it doesn't always pay quite as much. So when I started landing gigs that were paying a little bit more, it was more in the product photography scope or the corporate photography scope. And so the portrait photography part of my work started to fall to the wayside. But whenever I needed a break and wanted to sort of express my artistic freedom a little bit more, I would always go back to doing portrait photography. And when I started to move towards doing more video, again, the type of work didn't really lend itself to doing portrait. And it was a little bit more narrative style and a little more documentary style, which is the type of video that I was doing. But I've been itching to get back in doing some creative portrait style photography for the last little while. And so today, that is what we're gonna do. Now, typically for portrait photography, the lenses that you're gonna be gravitating towards is the 50mm or the 85mm. And generally that's because it keeps the proportions of the person's face and their body more real to life. And if you are going to do something a little bit different, you might be using the 35, which is still really good, or the 24, which is considered wide angle portrait photography. And that's what we're gonna be attacking today. However, I'm gonna be challenging myself and going a little bit wider and using the 20 and seeing if we can get some really cool, interesting shots with that and make it a little bit more a artistic style portrait photography. Now, the weather today is really, really gray and cold. But what I think that does for us an advantage is colors really pop, as you can see. So we're gonna play with that, and I'm gonna go through what I'm thinking and how I'm composing the shots so that the image isn't distorted all weird and Kat's face isn't distorted all weird, because when you start getting into the 20mm focal length or the 16mm focal length, that's something that you definitely have to watch out for. So we're gonna pick some spots. We're gonna try to get 5 really good photos, and I'm gonna walk you through my thought process on each of those photos. All right, so we made it to our first spot where we're gonna take the photo. And the spot is the spot behind me here. And the idea for the photo is I wanted to get a full body shot using the leading line to accentuate the length and shape of her body. The trick is that for this shot, you're gonna wanna keep her face and her torso in the center of the frame. And that's gonna be the theme throughout this entire video, is that because it's such a wide angle lens, you want to keep the focal point of the subject in the center of the frame. So if you're getting a little tighter and it's just her face, you want to keep that in the center. But if it's a full body length, you want to keep sort of her face and her torso. Hopefully what that will do is above her, the leading lines will get accentuated up and her legs will get extended down a little bit. And for a model, having their legs look a little longer is always desirable. Yeah, it's a good look. So we're gonna try to take some shots here in this little location. And hopefully we get something good. So Kat, how was the first shot?
So hard, so difficult.
Now, I think the challenging thing about that shot is to get the angles right from the model. It takes a lot of sort of core strength, and the photographer has to really direct them, because there are so many vertical leading lines that your body has to the model's body sort of has to match those lines. And if any part of her body is on not the right angle, in accordance, versus the in accordance to?
In accordance to.
Yeah, so if the vertical lines are like this, but her angles aren't perfectly at sort of 45-ish, it can look a little bit awkward. So I think that was the challenge for Kat, since she's not a professional model, but she's graceful enough to give me her time and let me direct her. And it gets frustrating sometimes, but I think we got one that we like. You can see in her face, if you look really careful, that she's really concentrating on her angles as I'm directing her, but I think the photo worked out pretty good actually. I think I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
But we're off to the second one. The second location is actually going to be a little bit easier. Now, the idea for this shot is that Kat is going to be sort of stepping above the camera, and so she's gonna have to take a step and then pause. And then what's really great about this lens, the 20mm G1.8, is you can get that f-stop to go all the way down to 1.8 and sort of have that nice blurry foreground. Like in this case, it'll be her leg and her foot, and then hopefully her face will be in focus. And I love this lens for that, because typically with wide angle lenses, everything's in focus. But because this lens is so fast, you can get really creative with shots like this. So we're going to try to use these steps behind us. Let's see if we can get the shot and if it'll be a little bit faster than the first location, because that took us like
150 photos.
Yeah. We took like 150 shots to get one that we liked. Okay, so let's get to work. All right, so for the shot, the easiest way to do that is to get an area where it's quite long and flat, and then there's some steps right below that. And now I'm gonna have to get all the way down like this. And I'm gonna get all my settings right, and then Kat's gonna take her step. So this is what it looks like, and then we'll show you the photo.
There's Michael setting up the shot.
Hello. Okay, we are on shot number 3, and man, it is freaking cold right now. It is just so cold. But Kat's doing an amazing job. For this shot, it's another upward shot again. So we simply just tried to keep her in the center of the frame, and then instead of having her step above me this time, I had her just dangle from the rail. We just picked this little rail, and if you want a shot like this, you just need a rail with some stairs below, and then you can kind of have them grip onto this little pillar here, and then you can shoot from above. So yeah, shot number 3. Were you happy with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably the easiest one, because it allowed her to have a really stable place to stand and something to hold on to. I think the hardest part is that it's cold and it's a metal rail with no gloves. So maybe we're going to take a quick pit stop, and then we're going to continue to get the final 2 shots. All right, so for our next shot, where we decided to go was to the Boulder Museum, one of our favorite buildings. And what's really great about wide angle lenses is it really gives you the opportunity to take a portrait, but also show off the environment that you're in. So we wanted to pick a really cool building for this, and that's going to be sort of the final 2 shots, which is showing your main model subject, but then also giving people a sense of the place that they're in. So we did one style here, and the next one is going to be another sort of lookup style, and we're going to head there, and I'm going to explain sort of that shot idea. We decided to use this little corner right here because it would give Kat an opportunity to sit along a cornered edge, but then also give us that nice backdrop of the Boulder Museum. So I'm sorry if I was talking fast in that last segment, but it got really cold and now it started raining, and we just had to rush to our last location. But like all things creative, not everything goes to plan, and I just couldn't find a building that I was looking for specific. Now, the shot that I had in mind is a rounded cornered building, so that when I framed up Kat in the center, the lines leading to the corner of the building would give us leading lines to Katerina. But truth be told, it was really challenging finding a building like that. So we ended up just using this little round water tower in the background, and I think it looked good, but it was still missing that element of the leading lines that were heading towards you, which I think would have been better. And now we're running out of light, so we're done with our shots. I'm gonna go home, edit these, and then we will pick our 5, or no, I'll pick 5 to throw up, and then I guess you and I will pick our favorites, and then hopefully you guys can pick your favorite too. So we'll see you soon. So what do you think?
I had a lot of fun with this. It was awesome.
Yeah, I'm actually super happy with the results, and it was a lot of fun to do photos like this because I haven't really shot wide angle type portraits before, and I haven't really shot portraits in a while, as I mentioned from the very beginning. But which one was your favorite?
The first one, actually, the one where I'm like leaning back a little bit, because I thought it was interesting to create these interesting lines with more of a front-facing shot. I thought that was really cool. Yeah,
I think when you're doing these wide-angle portraits, it's nice to show the environment. And because of the long leading lines, I wanted to get her into a kind of like a shape that sort of would complement or contrast or match that. And it's challenging because your body has to be really controlled and your head has to be in a certain position while balancing. Shout out to all the models out there who are always making super awkward positions look really exceptional and being able to interpret the direction from the photographer. And I think you did that really well. It took us a while. I think we originally took like, I don't know, about 50 to 75 shots just to get one that I liked. But my favorite was the one where she's stepping over me. And I think that's a little bit of an easy pick because it has that foreground blur. It's most people are going to gravitate towards that because it has that unique angle.
Mm-hmm.
And what makes it actually even more special is because this lens, the 20mm G 1.8, it's such a fast aperture that it allows you to get a wide shot while blurring out your foreground element or background element. And I just really like the contrast of the colors of her jacket and her toque to the environment. Now, we knew that the clouds would be quite gray, but the colors did pop. I think in the future, if you are gonna do something like this, having a little bit of light leak through would be nice. So maybe end of the golden hour could be good to give it a little more depth to your photos. But I'm curious to know, which shot was your favorite? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? Leave a comment below so I know. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me and following my thought process when creating photos, and doing this for the first time really gave me an opportunity to walk through the process, not only for myself, but be able to talk about it and share some of my learnings with everyone here. So if you found this video useful and are taking something away from it into your own creative process, then don't forget to give it a like or share, and consider subscribing because that really helps out a small creator like myself and this channel. And that was pretty much it. That was a lot of fun. We'll see you in the next one. And as always, live passionately and stay inspired. Bye.